Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going over my personal kayak setup for 2024. And what you see here in front of me, this is a Bonafide PWR129 or the Power 129. Just like its name would suggest, it's meant to do just that. Power it. So on the front here, I've got the Motor Guide XI3. This is the 36-inch Motor Guide motor that's meant specifically for kayaks. And also what I've done on this kayak is I've done the bow motorization kit. So Bonafide sells their own kit. You've probably seen a video, if you're regular on the channel, of me installing this kit on this kayak. But what it does is it has the quick release puck, it has the bow motor plate, and then also the insulated wiring, the 60 amp fuse block. But what's really unique about this kit is it does come with rigging to pull the unlock plate down, and then the cord on the left side here is for bringing it up into the boat. So unlike the NuCanoe Unlimited, what you see here, it's not that wide open deck space, and this prevents you from having to climb out on the tip of the boat just to bring your motor in. And I've used this a ton, and I really like this. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy this motor down just to kind of show you guys how I've got this rigged up. Okay, so one thing, the reason I chose this kayak was after doing my on the water video is how well this kayak paddled through the water. It goes across the water very nicely, foot control steering right out of the box, and you have a spring-loaded rudder on the back. So when the rudder is all the way up, it's all the way up into the hull, so if you're going over rocks or some shallows, you're going to be fine. But this allows me to keep the motor pointed straight ahead, allows me to steer it. This is the first true hands-free experience that I personally have experienced on a fishing kayak, and I absolutely love this setup. So I mentioned the NuCanoe Unlimited before. I've owned one of those, had this the same motor on the front of it. But what I like about this is it's not that open deck concept that I like about the NuCanoe platform so much, but everything is laid out kind of like I like it. So nice front hatch storage. Although I don't use front hatch storage all that much, most of my storage is going to be in the Blackpack Pro and the back, but I really like the fact that you've got rod tip protectors built into the nose of the boat, but they're not too deep. So it just allows you just to put the tip of the rod in there, but have the rest of it exposed. This allows you to get it out there very quickly and without having to fool around with bringing it out of a long tube that's inside the hull. I also love these clips with the bungee on it. This really helps with transport if you're throwing it in the back of your truck or on a trailer. But when you're out there on the water, it makes for a much easier solution to having it right on your side or in front of you. And then also the pull-out drawer has these divots. And then this kayak comes with very similar to what they call the old Bullwinkle setup. It's a plate that bolts onto the rear end of the hatch. You have rod stagers, but you've also got your catch board holder, which works really nicely. Okay, so got my 26-inch catch board. This will also hold obviously a 32-inch, but it slides right into that slot, and you got a nice little bungee here like so. So I really like that. It also, when you're catching a fish, you got your net usually in the back or on the front here. It allows you to quickly take it out, to put it on the deck, and then to take that picture of the fish. And again, it keeps the deck of the kayak from feeling too cluttered. So moving back here, the gear pod. So a lot of people don't like the gear pod on this setup. I actually do. Is he really? Can you see him? Hey, I don't have any bread. I'm sorry. You want to come up here? You want to come up here?
I think you're just going to have to continue.
That's fine. That's fine. So Bonafide actually sells a gear pod delete plate that goes across the top of there. I'm one of the few people, I feel, I actually use the gear pod and I actually like it. I keep my scupper plugs in there, which I do run scupper plugs in. I just buy the Perception scupper plugs that are kind of universal fit. They fit in there really nicely. If you're going pretty decent speed, you're going to want those scupper plugs. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of that churn up through there. The one thing that I will say about this setup is even if you have all the scupper plugs plugged up, you are still going to get some slosh coming up from the gear pod, which there is a scupper hole underneath there, a longer one. And again, you will get a little bit of that, but nothing really crazy, at least from my experience. Moving back here, I only run the seat in the high position. So what I've done, I'm gonna go ahead and take these rods out of here. So moving back to the seat, I primarily run this in the high position. So in the high position, what I've done here, take these bungees off that hold it in place, is I run, again, the bow motorization kit comes with the through-hole wiring kit and Anderson plugs for your battery. It allows me to run the battery plug right here. If you're running this in the low position, you're going to want your through-hole to run on the side plate here, just because when you're running that low position, that bar is going to be sitting right across there. And as you've seen in a lot of my other videos, I've been running the Redodo 12-volt 100 amp hour battery. Many of you have ordered the mini battery, which is the 12-volt 100 amp hour also, and have really liked it. So again, if you want to check these batteries out, I'll leave a link down in the description below. But Blackpack Pro, this is the 16x16. I have run this for the better part of a year, year and a half, and I've absolutely loved this thing. It allows me to carry 6 rods in addition to whatever storage of the kayak that I'm running, and more than enough room to run all of my tackle, all of my gear, maybe even some power gear if I'm running a GoPro or anything like that. But this has more than enough room to run a battery, which is a Group 27 size battery. There are some smaller options out there. I've got a 16x16. I've got more than enough room to run other things in the back here if I want to. So moving in the very back, you've got these really nice gear track here. I use this for GoPro, running the boomstick. You got the wheel here. This is where you're going to be able to adjust your rudder tension, the cables coming through there, the steering cables. And you've got motor mounts back here, so if you're wanting to run like your power pole setup, they sell an accessory plate that goes back here. I don't run the stern mount motors, but many of you do. But back here, if you do run a stern mount motor, you can simply remove the cables from this wheel and put them on the motor. I'm talking about like a Torqeedo or a Newport, and that allows you to foot control your stern mount motor while still doing your battery. The same setup I've got here, just not running the bow mount. Underneath, you've got the, again, that spring-loaded rudder, which is your pull cable here. And again, many of you have seen my video on this kayak, or probably, you know, the only things that I've really changed, obviously I'm running the kayak cushion, I'm running the Redodo battery, the bow motorization kit. But as you can see, I run my kayak very, very simple. Obviously the motor isn't simple, but I don't do anything crazy, but this is for me personally. This is my personal setup. This kayak can grow as the industry grows. That's one of the reasons I like the Bonafide PWR as well as the native Titan X, is I feel like there's a lot further you can go with these kayaks, whether you're doing live scope, lighting, the whole nine. But again, for me personally, I like to go out on night fishing trips every now and then, or quick fishing trips, or the occasional tournament. This is more than enough for me, and this is very comparable or lower than a lot of your pedal drive kayaks out there, so it's a tremendous value. The top speed on this, I've gotten over around 5.5 to over 6 miles per hour on this setup. That's me being a bigger guy. I don't carry a whole lot of gear. The battery weighs about 22 pounds, so again, you can go with some heavier setups, but I've been really happy with the way it planes across the water, the way it paddles, and the efficiency of the motor. So anyways, guys, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to share any information I've got on this kayak, but I've been extremely impressed with this kayak and really looking forward to what Bonafide comes out in the future. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next video.